KSAT 12. The news at noon starts right now.
6 days. That's how long Governor Greg Abbott has to veto Senate Bill 3 or it automatically goes into law. The bill would ban all ingestible hemp products with THC. Those with CBD would not be banned. While it had enough support to make it to Governor Abbott's desk, there are people even within the Republican Party vehemently against this bill. Some on the business side and then some on the health side. People like parents like Mary Wynn. And I met her and her son, 19-year-old Jonathan, who has a severe level of autism that used to make him violent when overstimulated. They tried everything, but said it was the THC products that ultimately calmed him down enough that he did not have to be committed to a state hospital. Now he can go out in public, ride roller coasters, play music, and interact with people. Things Wynn is terrified will be pulled away if Abbott does not veto SB 3.
I feel that the banning is more of an emotional issue. It's pretty broad sweeping and no true scientific data.
Tonight at 6, you can see more of my interview with Mary and Jonathan. She explains how she combines the store-bought THC product with medical marijuana oil that's prescribed to her son. That medical marijuana system within Texas is called the Compassionate Use Program. And that Compassionate Use Program is one of the big reasons a lot of legislators voted for SB 3, hoping if the THC ban goes into effect, there would be an expansion of the controlled medical marijuana program. Our Avery Everett spoke with the governor 2 weeks ago, and he said that expansion could impact his decision to sign the bill. Avery takes a look at the Compassionate Use Program to see who could qualify.
So we can put it in your drink, you can light it up, you can vape it, eat it.
It's not the typical cup of joe, but it's one Nicholas Tovar says he relies on.
Because I'm fighting for my life. I really am.
Tovar is a veteran, and he says THC has helped him overcome the long-term effects of alcoholism and depression.
I want to be able, to eventually live without, anything, just to live happily, healthy, and free. But I can't because we have this new SB 3 law that they're trying to push.
Senate Bill 3 outlines new regulations for consumable hemp products in our state. It virtually bans all THC products with a few exceptions like CBD. It's gotten support at the state capitol.
I think Senate Bill 3 is all about closing this loophole that is literally swallowing our next generation.
Enough to send the bill to Governor Greg Abbott's desk. But part of the support lies in an expansion for medical marijuana usage through House Bill 46. Now, this bill would expand who can apply for medical use of low THC cannabis under the Texas Compassionate Use Program. Right now, 9 conditions are considered qualified. HB 46 would expand that list to include chronic pain, Crohn's disease, traumatic brain injury, and terminal illnesses.
We're expanding the things that we believe are legitimate needs that can be met through a responsible delivery system.
It's a step. But advocates against a THC ban say it's not that simple.
It'll work for some people, but it won't work for everybody. It's confusing. It's not easy.
Tovar says there are thousands of people using THC products that wouldn't be protected with this kind of expansion. He worries about licensing and outlying conditions.
It doesn't work for all Texans.
The governor has to veto both bills by Sunday, or they'll become law.
We're in a waiting game.
To see the state's next steps for THC consumption. Avery Everett, KSAT 12 News.
Questions now linger as people continue to gather at Perrin Vital in Briar Glen, where at least 10 of the 13 victims of last week's flooding lost their lives. Flowers, rosaries, and balloons line the edge of Vital Creek now. One balloon reads, "Best Dad Ever," a heartbreaking and important reminder that the people we lost were parents, children, and siblings. In a statement sent to KSAT, City Manager Eric Walsh said this investigation will include an independent engineering analysis to, quote, understand the contributing factors and ensure we are guided by facts as we address what occurred, end quote. He said the city plans to be transparent with those findings. And tomorrow there will be a vigil honoring the lives lost in the floods. It's this Wednesday at 8 p.m. on the Northwest Side at the address on your screen. Organizers are inviting everyone in our community to come out and pay their respects. And Sarah, that's exactly what we're thinking about this week. I mean, it's only been days, and even though we have this sun, that's really what's in our minds.
Absolutely. Our thoughts and our prayers are with the families of those who lost their lives in last week's terrible flooding. As Courtney mentioned, it is sunny outside right now, and we are going to be drying out here in San Antonio. It's 87 degrees, but it is pretty windy. We've got winds from the south gusting up to about 23 miles per hour. That 87 feels more like 91. Humidity is a major factor out there today. Here's a look at the current wind gusts. We're seeing wind gusts from the south anywhere from 20 to 30 miles per hour. 30 mile per hour wind gusts down in Poteet and Pleasanton. So a breezy day for us. At least we do have that wind. In the shade, it's not too bad. For the rest of the day, we're going to be looking at a high temperature of 93, but that 93 is going to feel more like 100. Coming up in the forecast, we've got small chances for rain by the weekend. I'll tell you why, and we'll take a look at how much rain locally we've seen. Courtney.
All right, thanks so much, Sarah. Well, it's a way to make sure people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, or IDD, are getting the care they need. A group of organizations have joined together to create the IDD Champions. This includes Morgan's MAC, the ARC, and ABC of Southwest Texas, among others. They asked caregivers of people with IDD how the system was working for them. The survey got over 800 responses. The overwhelming majority of caregivers felt under-supported and didn't know about available resources. IDD Champions plans to use this survey to create a free guided resource through the website Sacred. Other places and plans that they want to include is an IDD council and parent information sessions. Well, the Texas Education Agency has just released the Spring 2025 State of Texas Assessments of Academic Readiness, or STAR, results for grades 3 through 8. For this year's results include assessments in reading language arts, math, science, and social studies. The news is promising in reading language arts, with students meeting grade levels surpassing pre-pandemic levels. Reading language arts scores improved across nearly every grade level, with grade 5 showing the largest increase of 4 percentage points. Grades 3 and 4 each increased by 3% and grade 8 by 2%. In math, grades 3 and 8 saw notable gains, with students meeting grade level increasing by 4 and 5 percentage points. Science results showed improvement as well in both tested grades, with grade 5 up by 3% and grade 8 up by 4 percentage points. But grade 8 social studies declined slightly by 1%. 4 years after Governor Greg Abbott announced Texas would be the first state to build its own border wall, lawmakers have quietly stopped funding the project. Now, only scattered segments cover a small fraction of the border. Just 8% of the 805-mile project is complete, costing taxpayers over $3 billion so far. The Texas Tribune reported that the wall is filled with gaps, allowing migrants and smugglers to easily pass through. It's also reported the wall pieces are mostly located on rural ranches where illegal crossings are less heavy. State leaders suggest the federal government could take over, but during President Trump's first term, only 21 miles were built in Texas, about a third of what the state has achieved in 4 years. Texas made sweeping changes to bail reform, parole, and reentry programs this past legislative session as part of its goal to keep violent repeat offenders in jail. Texas lawmakers proposed at least 121 bills that sought to increase criminal penalties by either creating mandatory minimum sentences or elevating punishments. Some laws that passed include stricter bail requirements, a few bills to address issues like overcrowding, cooling problems during the summer, suicides, and violence, allow harsher punishments for some crimes, and made several changes to the way law enforcement operates within the state, including salaries and collaborations with ICE. To read more about it, you can head to KSAT.com and search for bail and parole. Well, deadly floods hit our community and have left us with so many questions. I got to ask the San Antonio River Authority about what went wrong and what has to change to protect San Antonio families moving forward. And if you've passed by St. Mary Street, you might have noticed some construction. Our Devin Karp showed us how a sidewalk project is unfolding. And Mayor Ron Nirenberg preparing to hand the reins over to Mayor-elect Gina Ortiz-Jones. We'll share what's next for him in his career. Tomorrow, Mayor Ron Nirenberg will hand the reins over to Mayor-elect Gina Ortiz-Jones. For the past 8 years, Nirenberg has handled problems like affordable housing, mass transit, and job training, all issues that won't end when he leaves office. He also leaves behind the multi-billion-dollar sports and entertainment district project known as Project Marvel. For now, Nirenberg is becoming a professor at his alma mater, Trinity University. Heading outside with live cam, of course it is sunny, but because you were talking, Sarah, all of that water and from the floods, it is very humid.
Absolutely, yeah. We're seeing heat index values very high. So for the last few days, we've seen the aquifer steadily rise. The aquifer in the last 24 hours, though, has made no change. So this might be the sign that things are starting to get back to normal, with the aquifer starting to fall pretty regularly. So we'll keep you posted on that. As for the pollen count, we do have molds, which are moderate, but they're down from yesterday. So that is some good news there. Hey, coming up in the forecast, we're going to talk about how the last 30 days in San Antonio have been exceptional when it comes to rainfall. Details soon.
Well, it's been 5 days, but the fallout from last week's deadly flooding is still heavy on so many minds. The level of flooding has left us all with so many questions. Was it just too much rain, too fast, in one spot? Or did something happen structurally? Well, I took those questions along with some of yours to the San Antonio River Authority to see what they're assessing and what they want to do differently in the future.
This is why the San Antonio River Authority exists, to prevent and maneuver flooding throughout our city and county. They map floodplains and control infrastructure that affects not just the San Antonio River, but creeks all around it.
What areas usually have the most issues with flooding?
They are distributed around the city. Where that intense area is varies every event.
This time around, it hit the northeast side hard. While viewers wanted to know if construction contributed, San Antonio River Authority Managing Engineer Aaron Cavazos says it's too early to know.
Construction adds additional uncertainty. And I think that over, the course of investigating what happened, we might find answers to that.
Is there a way to prevent this kind of thing from happening?
Prevention would take so much investment.
What's an example of something like that, design-wise?
Some of the more expensive investments are like dams, tunnels, channels.
They already have 28 total dams in Bexar County, spread out between some of the main creeks that can flood. They've invested in prevention in a different way, too, in a system called Bear Flood.
So there's a gauge out there, and it starts to show when the water's getting close to the road, it turns a different color, and it sends alerts. And then when it's overtopping the road, it turns red.
Well, today's nice and sunny, but let's just say it was raining and I had to get in the car. The first thing I do is pull up bearflood.org and look for low water crossings. All of them right now seem to be green, except for a couple that are red and one over here. That's yellow.
We would love to see it in Google Maps and Apple Maps and all the mapping applications people use.
They'd also like to see it used beyond Bexar County. But for now, Cavazos' advice is to study these maps.
To see where the high flood risk is, where you live, and on your routes.
So you can avoid this at any cost.
Courtney, it is fascinating to see just how much has gone into flood prevention in the city of San Antonio. This is Flash Flood Alley from pretty much Del Rio all the way up to Dallas-Fort Worth, pretty much that Balcones escarpment. And the fact that we have a lot of local streams and rivers, flash flooding is prone and bound to happen here at times. Now, over the next couple of days, we are going to dry out. So that is some good news there. And when we look at our rainfall compared to other areas, so here in San Antonio, we've seen almost 19 inches of rain, which is almost 4.5 inches above what is average. But out in Austin, they're actually in a rainfall deficit. They have only seen 15.5 inches of rain or so, which is almost 1.5 inches below what is average for them this time of year. And Del Rio has only seen 3 inches of rain this entire year so far, Del Rio is typically dry though, and it usually by this time only sees about 8.5 inches of rain. So while we're seeing a surplus of rainfall, there are our neighbors there that are dealing with a rainfall deficit. And what's really stark is just to look at the last 30 days. What I'm showing you is the percent of normal rainfall. So we have seen 2.5 times what is normal in the last 30 days in Chavano Park, 250%. 2 times what is average in the last 30 days in the San Antonio area, 209% at the airport. 2.5 times up near Cibolo, about 1.5 times what's average in New Braunfels, nearly 2 times what's average in Seguin. And again, this is just over the last 30 days. One area, Mico, has seen 223% of what is normal for them to see. But as we know, out in Mico, that Medina Lake Reservoir is still only about 2.5% full. So we really, in a strange way, could still use some more rain, but we're not going to get a ton over the next few days. In fact, we've really only got isolated showers and storms showing up in the forecast by the weekend. 20% chance Saturday, Sunday, and into early next week. Outside right now, it's all about the heat. It's 87 in San Antonio, which doesn't seem that bad, but it feels like 91. It's 89 in Del Rio, feeling like 93. The biggest thing out there right now, in addition to the heat, is the wind. Winds are pretty breezy from the south at 15 to 20 miles per hour. We're seeing a few gusts of up to 30 miles per hour this afternoon, and that breeze will feel okay in the shade. Looking ahead to the rest of the day in your KSAT 12-hour forecast, 93 for the high for 5 o'clock, and then by the evening hours, we're going to be looking at temperatures still in the 80s by midnight, so it is going to be a warm one for us. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at what's happening across the nation. There are some severe storms working their way through Kansas and Oklahoma, producing gusty winds. Meanwhile, we're dry here because the heat high is having enough of an influence to keep us dry. High means dry, but it's not directly overhead, so we're not looking at the triple-digit temperatures that we can often see this time of year. In fact, as we look ahead, that heat high is going to be moving off to the east, not even over San Antonio. That's going to allow for a few spotty showers coming in from the Gulf again Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and that heat high will be directly over the eastern part of the nation next week. So on Sunday, it's actually going to be hotter in Detroit than it is in San Antonio, hotter in Washington, D.C. than it is in San Antonio. We're going to have the same forecast high as New York City next week. So again, it could be a lot hotter with that heat high directly overhead. So it's good to know that that's at least going to stay at bay, and we're going to dry out a little bit here. Hey, I do want to talk about the tropics. We'll be talking about that in the next half hour. Courtney.
All right, thanks, Sarah. Trying to keep busy this summer? The Pearl announced some events happening throughout the summer months, and we'll tell you all about them. Plus, an exhibit that raises awareness about the dangers and consequences of drunk driving, and it's right here in San Antonio, where you can see it after the break. Need something to do this summer? The Pearl has got you covered with a variety of events throughout the summer, including keeping the Alamo City fit and showcasing local artists. For the date and times of these events, search Things to Do at the Pearl on KSAT.com. And happening right now, TxDOT is at the River Center showing an exhibit that raises awareness about the dangers and consequences of drunk driving. It's part of the Drive Sober, No Regrets campaign that aims to promote sober driving and save lives this summer, especially with the 4th of July weekend approaching. This campaign coincides with an increased law enforcement effort. Starting June 26th through July 13th, officers across Texas will be on high alert for drunk drivers, working to reduce DWI crashes, injuries, and fatalities. The Faces of Drunk Driving exhibit will run until 7 p.m. tonight. The exhibit will share stories from Texas survivors and offenders affected by drunk driving. Plus, visitors can experience the dangers of driving under the influence of alcohol through a drunk driving simulator, an impaired goggle basketball game, and a cornhole toss. You can find the exhibit at the Shops at River Center, located in front of H&M and across from Starbucks. Summer is here, and while many of us are planning vacations, the South Texas Blood and Tissue is facing a serious challenge. During the summer break, blood donations tend to decline, and as summer activities increase, so does the likelihood of accidents, making blood donations crucial. Together, KSAT Community and South Texas Blood and Tissue are organizing a blood donor registration phone bank on July 1st. Representatives from South Texas Blood and Tissue will be available to answer questions and register donors. Phone lines will be open from 9 in the morning until 7 at night. We have more details about the blood donor registration drive on ksatcommunity.com. And Project Mend is starting a series of collection drives to give the gift of mobility to those in need. Their first Gear Up for Mobility event will be on Saturday, June 28th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Donors are encouraged to bring gently used home medical equipment like wheelchairs, rollators, and power scooters to New Braunfels City Hall. All donations will be given to those who need them the most. We've got all the details on ksatcommunity.com. San Antonio police arrested a man accused of making racist and terroristic threats online. How a man is facing serious allegations after his comments sparked concerns about mass violence. And coming up, construction is back on North St. Mary's, how it hopes to help pedestrians and avoid problems of previous work. New at noon, San Antonio police have arrested a man accused of making racist and terroristic threats towards protesters on YouTube. That's according to his arrest paperwork. Police say 48-year-old Travis Ryan Hasen commented on various YouTube videos and made threats toward people participating in the recent protests against U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Officers say several of them included racial slurs and were aimed at protesters in California. Police highlighted 17 comments attributed to Hasen, all of them allegedly referencing committing mass violence to the general public. Google and YouTube reported Hasen's comments to the FBI. A community devastated after the death of a young Navy sailor from Texas. 21-year-old Angelina Resendiz from Brownsville was last seen in her barracks in Norfolk, Virginia. Last week, her body was found less than 10 miles away from the naval station. Another sailor has been taken into custody in connection with her death. Here in San Antonio, a group of female veterans gathered for a vigil last night to honor Angelina and to call for stronger protections for our service members. Well, a mystery remains after a fence check turned into a police call when a body was found. That discovery was made yesterday on the south side on Neal Road, just inside Loop 1604. San Antonio police say the property owner was checking their cattle fences when they found a man's remains along the fence line. As of right now, police do not know how the man got there or how he died. Heading back outside with live cam, it's 87 degrees, but I feel like, I don't know, it's because I've been outside this morning. You can tell that it's hotter than that. I almost like look hotter than that.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't look steamy.
We don't even have those clouds like we did yesterday, Courtney. It's just pure old hot outside. Here's a look at the satellite. You can see that there's very few clouds. And then this is a look at the heat index values today. So what it feels like, you can see it already feels like 98 in Cotulla, 97 in Beeville. Closer to the coast, you'll notice the heat index is higher. And that's, of course, because there's higher humidity there. Feels like 102 in Corpus Christi right now. Feels like 88 in Kerrville and 91 in Uvalde. For the rest of the day today, we are going to be seeing a peak heat index in San Antonio of 100, and it's breezy too. We've got winds from the south at about 15 miles per hour. So as you're heading out and about this afternoon, make sure that AC is cranked in your car. Otherwise, headlines to know, the temperatures will be in the low to mid 90s, but that's pretty deceiving because all week long and into the weekend, the heat index is going to be 100 to 105. But what about rain chances? There is a small chance this weekend for more showers and storms. And I also want to remind you, it is Atlantic hurricane season, a check of the tropics and of the hurricane that's going to impact parts of Mexico coming up in a bit.
Sarah. Well, people in one Northeast Bexar County neighborhood are seeing the light at the end of a big rocky road. We showed you the situation on Bent Meadow Drive last week, how a road construction project had turned a neighborhood street into a muddy, rocky mess. People were having trouble getting in and out of their driveways. Some even told us their cars had been damaged. Since then, a crew combined the giant-sized rocks with smaller gravel, making the ride a bit smoother. All of that's temporary, though. The next step will be to pave over all of it.
So they told me, the contractor told me that Thursday is the day that this will be all paved over.
That's awesome. You did a wonderful job. That's great.
No, I think it's you guys.
While homeowners on that street are happy, others in the neighborhood near Converse are singing a different tune. We'll tell you why tonight on the KSAT News at 5. Well, it's a familiar sight on North St. Mary Street, but for some, not a welcome one. Construction is back. And as our Devin Karp shows us, it can have some unexpected side effects.
No, wait. Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation. And it all starts with a story about sidewalks.
Well, I think it's helped a lot of it, but, it's beautiful. We like to walk through the park. We like to walk around through the neighborhoods.
This is Mitch, who's walked on North St. Mary's nearly every day over the last 9 years.
Walk sign is on to cross St. Mary's.
But what keeps him coming back isn't the infrastructure.
Yeah, the sidewalks along there are kind of crappy. They're pretty inconsistent.
Now a new project is underway in 5 different phases, tearing up the old sidewalks and putting in the new. If you want to learn more about the sidewalk project, like when it starts, what parts are under construction, and how much it costs, all you have to do is take your phone and scan this QR code. All the information is right there for you.
This is Troy.
Troy. He looks gorgeous. Does he need a lot of walks?
He does, yeah. I mean, he gets one good long walk a day.
Yeah. Nearby neighbor David Hinojosa says a new sidewalk isn't just good for people, it's good for pups. How do you feel about them doing all the sidewalk construction and everything? Do you think it's going to make your walks easier?
I think it is. A lot, especially down in there. If there is sidewalk, it's mostly broken. There's a lot of glass. It's kind of dirty, so I think it'll be so much better.
But while trying to show you what the roads will look like in the meantime, going out through here, a little bumpy. I lost some equipment of my own. Whoa! Thankfully, phones are replaceable, just like this sidewalk. Two-way traffic will remain open for businesses, and construction is scheduled to go through the fall. Well, if you want this project to go faster, you're simply going to have to wait. Devin Karp, KSAT 12 News.
Don't worry, they got the footage off of the phone. That was on there, I'd like to report. Okay, UTSA working on designing materials that can withstand the speed of sound. How the university is taking part in this hypersonic challenge and what they hope to be a part of in the future. And what's next for the San Antonio Spurs? A new arena, expanding horizons, but what about the Frost Bank Center? Our candid interview with Spurs chairman Peter Holt ahead. And a scholarship aimed to help families who are working to build a better future through education. How you can apply after the break. Parents, are you thinking about going back to school? Well, this one's for you. Alamo colleges are getting a big boost to help cover your expenses. The Mayor's Commission on the Status of Women is putting up $40,000 for scholarships. Each recipient would get $1,000 per semester for up to 2 years. The money can help with tuition, books, and even childcare costs. Mayor Ron Nirenberg says it's about supporting families who are working to build a better future through education. Interested students need to apply through the Alamo Colleges Foundation Scholarship Application System. Well, happening in just a couple of hours, San Antonio ISD is hosting a summer career fair. The district is looking for elementary, middle, and high school educators with a particular need for special education and bilingual staff. It's happening from 2 to 4 p.m. at Brackenridge High School. You can expect in-person interviews and even on-site hiring. If you're interested, be sure to register on the website.
So, Courtney, we've been talking about how recently the aquifer has remained steady just in the last couple of days, but it's important to remember that since May 22nd, the aquifer has climbed almost 17 feet. So even though it's starting to level off, this is some very good news. Now take a look at this though. We're still 21, 22 feet below the monthly average. So we've got a long way to go before we are back to what is considered average for this time of year. In the pollen count, we do still have some molds out there that are elevated, but they're down from yesterday. Molds are moderate at 950. Let's take a look at Tropical Storm Eric after the break.
If you are a senior who enjoys swimming, City Council District 3 is inviting you to Kingsborough Swimming Pool for its Senior Swim Pilot Program. This initiative offers tailored swim sessions that focus on enhancing physical fitness, improving mobility, and a way to build new friendships through the joy of swimming. Today was the first day of the event, but they will be happening every Tuesday and Thursday from 10 to 11 a.m. And SeaWorld is opening 2.5 hours earlier to help visitors beat the summer heat with their new early rise hours. Not a bad idea. Starting this Saturday, June 21st, the park will open and operate beginning at 8 a.m. And it comes with access to exhibits, roller coasters, and exclusive access to the new Rescue Junior area before it gets too hot to enjoy the day. So if you can't go this Saturday, don't worry. This will continue on select Saturdays afterwards. For a link to the park's hours, just search SeaWorld on KSAT.com. Well, imagine enjoying dinner in New York and then returning home to San Antonio in time for the night beat, all in less than the time it would take to drive across town to 1604. Sounds like science fiction, right? Well, thanks to innovative research right here in San Antonio, that future could be closer than you think. Here's meteorologist Justin Horn with that story.
In a small room at UTSA, this rather nondescript tube represents what could be a turning point in travel and space exploration.
Well, hypersonic testing is in really high demand right now from a lot of different places in the government, whether it's space sector, defense. There's commercial companies that are interested in this.
And UTSA is stepping up to that hypersonic challenge, designing materials that can withstand the speed of sound and then some.
We're actually one of the few universities in the country that can do Mach 7 Plus on campus. We're only one of about 5.
Mach 7, by the way, represents 7 times the speed of sound, or roughly 5,000 miles per hour. At that speed, you can fly around the Earth in less than 12 hours.
Once a test gets started here in the lab, everyone will move into this room here to watch on the monitors. That ensures everything stays safe.
So this one over here, it was our first prototype. And as you can see, it's made of silicone rubber and aluminum bars. And with this, we were able to show for first time in the world that you can use architected materials to have control over hypersonic flow.
Us older folks, of course, remember the Concorde. It flew at Mach 2, twice the speed of sound, but it hit problems, one being the sonic boom. It can only go that fast over water.
So as long as you're flying supersonic speed, you basically sweep across everything on the ground and everywhere hears a sonic boom as you fly by.
But can they create boomless technology? They tell me it's possible. And at the end of the day, it's the cost equation that may be most important, especially when it comes to space exploration.
So right now, yeah, every time that you fly one of these vehicles, you just need to get rid of it and then use another one. So
it's expensive.
So it's very expensive. It's very expensive. Yeah.
More efficient fuels, more efficient airframes, and making things safer, making improved propulsion devices and thrusters and things like that.
All things this multidisciplinary group is researching, whether it be for space, travel, or domestic flight. And yes, these researchers believe that a 20-minute flight from San Antonio to Chicago is possible, but it might be a few decades away.
A lot of the work that we do at the university level, it's not going to impact you tomorrow, but it could impact 10, 15, 20 years down the road.
Justin Horn, KSAT 12 News.
Even just 20 years down the road is incredible to think.
Incredible.
The local people are contributing.
We're both Harry Potter fans. As Harry Potter fans, I'm waiting for the time when we can apparate.
I was going to say, just use the Flu Network. Okay, sorry,
All right, we're millennials. Stereotypically Harry Potter lovers as well.
But in all seriousness, if you can't use the Flu Network, let's give kudos to the researchers that are working really hard on actual
Good job,
science.
Justin. Let's talk about Tropical Storm Eric. You can see Tropical Storm Eric here is in the Pacific, and just a reminder that tropical storms in the Pacific have a different naming system from tropical storms in the Atlantic. So we've had no Atlantic storms yet, but in the Pacific, they've had 5. That's why we're on the name Eric, the 5th letter of the alphabet. And as of 1 p.m., Eric is still a tropical storm. It has winds of 150 miles per hour. Let's take you through the forecast here. Eric is expected to become a hurricane by early tomorrow morning, a Category 1 hurricane. And then it's expected to potentially make landfall along the Oaxacan coast here. And that's why there's a hurricane warning for many of these areas along the Oaxacan coast as a Category 2 hurricane by Thursday morning with 110 mile-per-hour wind speeds. You can see that tropical storm warnings, though, extend all the way out to Salina Cruz. And then as we go toward the Friday hour, south of Guadalajara, it's expected to fall apart. But if you have friends and family in South Mexico, or you have plans to travel to Oaxaca, just know that there is a hurricane warning for areas along the coast there. In the Atlantic, though, there is no development expected over the next 7 days. It's fairly quiet right now, but that's not totally unusual. In fact, we usually see Atlantic hurricane season really pick up in July, late July, early August, and it peaks around September 10th. That's typically the peak of Atlantic hurricane season. And so we'll keep you posted. Atlantic hurricane season goes until the end of November, as that water is warm until the end of November out in the Atlantic. And warm water often means hurricanes. Outside right now, we have got temperatures in the upper 80s, 87 degrees in San Antonio, 87 in New Braunfels, 84 in Boerne. But take a look at how breezy it is. We've got winds sustained at 15 to 20 miles per hour. So pretty breezy out there. Heat index values are in the 90s. We're going to have a breezy rest of the day here. That 93 for the high around 4 or 5 o'clock is going to feel more like 100. And it's going to stay breezy throughout the evening hours as well. So if it's your trash day, if you got to put your trash can out by the curb, make sure to bring it in as soon as you can early tomorrow morning, because it'll stay pretty breezy. As we take a look at clouds and radars, you can see that there's some severe storms across parts of Kansas and Oklahoma. But here in Texas, it's fairly dry, and that's because the heat high is having enough of an influence to keep things dry for us. But that heat high is not directly overhead. If that heat high was directly overhead, we'd be dealing with temperatures in the triple digits. As I take you through the futurecast, that heat high is going to stay moving, and it's eventually going to move east of Texas and bringing us a small chance, 20% for isolated showers, as air moves in a clockwise fashion around a high pressure system. So we'll get some sea breeze shower potential over the weekend. It's only a 20% chance, though. Meanwhile, while that heat high is not going to be impacting us directly, it is going to be impacting the east coast of the nation over the weekend. Take a look at Detroit. 96 degrees for the high in Detroit. It's going to be hotter in Detroit than in San Antonio over the weekend because of that heat high. So a fairly quiet weather pattern for us, other than a few isolated showers and storms possible over the weekend. More news for you after the break.
Well, as the talk around a potential new Spurs arena picks up, there are people wondering why the Spurs would want to move from the Frostbank Center. That, along with the Spurs expansion up and down I-35 from Austin to Mexico, were some of the topics that I discussed with Spurs chairman Peter J. Holt. Here's more of our one-on-one interview.
It's going to be, I think, transformational for the community abroad.
It's hard not to notice how excited Peter J. Holt is when discussing a new Spurs arena and continuing his family's legacy in San Antonio. But as the franchise moves forward, there are questions about why their present home, the Frostbank Center, is not currently part of their long-term future.
General expert opinion on the life of arenas is about 30 years. And so we're coming up on that age of the Frostbank Center.
The arena, which opened in 2002, has been home to 4 Spurs titles and countless memories.
It's been an amazing home for us, and we want it to thrive. And we think with the rodeo's vision, with the county's vision, with the East Side area participation and engagement, we think that we can be part and enable the future success of the Frostbank Center.
Despite years of success and current stars like Victor Wembanyama, the Spurs are still one of the smallest markets in the league.
We need a world-class home for our great players to thrive in, for our fans to be excited about, and for our business to be sustainable. And having that in an urban core really allows for that growth and sustainability.
In an effort to keep up with the Joneses of the NBA, the Spurs have expanded their reach in the region.
What is right now the current relationship with the Spurs and Austin and further south towards Mexico and the border?
This regional concept is, I think, really important piece of that to enable fans to know us, to feel us, to be part of us.
What would you like to reiterate to the fans out there when they kind of see these regional plans and they see potentially maybe more games in Austin?
San Antonio's our home. You know, we just built this $100+ million performance campus, and it's the best in the NBA. We want to continue to invest in San Antonio. We want our players, our coaches, our fans to know this is home. We also want to make sure that we're extending our brand, and we're extending San Antonio's brand, and we're being more inclusive.
Well, Holt told me during that sit-down interview that since his family became the controlling owner for the team in the mid-90s, 26 of 30 teams have changed ownership, and the Spurs have no intention of becoming the 27th. Coming up tomorrow on GMSA, we get to know more about the Spurs owner, who usually doesn't step into the spotlight.
Courtney, I never thought I would be okay saying this.
Okay.
We've got a pretty average forecast.
Oh, I like that. I'll take average in June.
Goldilocks, not too hot, not too cold, just right.
Just right. I mean, okay.
It's a little humid. All right. All right, the high temperature will be in the low 90s. It's okay. You could be a Debbie Downer.
I'll support you.
Negative Nancy. Hey, temperatures are going to be pretty average in the low 90s, but we do have a small chance for a few showers and storms over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. But we need some quiet weather after the floods of last week. So it is nice to see a fairly quiet forecast as we head into officially summer on Friday.
Which is crazy that it's just on Friday. But
I know.
Longest day. Get some stuff planned. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.